Governor Everett Hawkins issued a statement.
Through a press release, Governor Everett Hawkins made a statement on the investigation conducted by journalist Juan Pablo Barrientos on the Gran Sirenes project and the relationship with the Vice President Marta Lucia Ramirez, clarifying that, open quotation,
"The statements that are circulated in the media about my position regarding the Sirenes Hotel project were made in 2019 when I was not governor, nor did I have concrete information about the details of the construction project. It is not true that I stated that the license of the Gran Sirenes project is irregular. It is false that I claim that the company has not compensated the islands. I have never received from the owners of the project or person close to any kind of favor or request of any nature. There is no audio or current statement on my part about the legal situation of the development of the project or questioning the legality of this. I believe that any tourism project that is developed on the island brings benefits to the island community, contributing to the generation of employment and socioeconomic development of the island."
Close quotation mark. With these words, Governor Everett Hawkins expresses his opinion on the Gran Sirenes project of the company Hitos Urbanos, which has attracted the attention of the media and citizen observers on the island.
A few hours ago, a judge of the state of Trujillo in Venezuela ordered the deprivation of liberty of the medical doctor Nayib Morales.
A control judge 6 of the Criminal Judicial Circuit of Trujillo State in Venezuela ordered that the resident physician Nayib Morales will be deprived of liberty for at least 45 days when the lapse of the investigation ends. This decision was taken after the accusation made by the prosecutor office of peculation of use for allegedly having on his property medical supplies prohibited for sale. It is to remember that Nayib Morales' Islander doctor was detained in Venezuela, according to the authorities, for having medicines in his possession when their requests were made at the hospital. The family of the physician Nayib Morales asked for justice and dignified treatment for health personnel in the neighboring country.
Lo que hemos podido conocer por parte del abogado.
What we have been able to learn from the lawyers who are with him is that yesterday they held a hearing where, despite all the pressure and all the support he has received from the community of Trujillo, he could not be released due to a lot of pressure from the governor and the president, because it turns out that there have been losses of medicines in several hospitals. So for that reason, they came to the hospitals making raids, searching and so forth. My brother was in the operating room in the supply area, and he had 2 medicines, a syringe in his koala and a personal bag.
Venezuelan doctors declare a cease of activities in protest against this capture led by Venezuelan authorities.
Nosotros, como medida de protesta,
As a protest measure, together with my colleagues, we decided to suspend elective interventions as a protest measure, and we are in full support of our resident.
According to Venezuela doctors, they use the koala as an emergency measure to attend the patients who arrive in critical condition at the hospital without resources to buy medicines.
es una detención un poco arbitraria.
It is an arbitrary detention given that he is a first-year resident who is the one that handles medicines at the operating room level. Every postgraduate resident carries a koala with medicines with suitor. What is left over from other surgeries, we are making a stoppage, and that is common to carry a koala with medicines during the postgraduate training. Therefore, here there are times when there is almost nothing. That patient arrives at 1 or 2 in the morning as he is going out to buy, and that patient is operated on.
The family members ask for justice and hope that Nayib Morales will be released as soon as possible. It should be noted that the sister alludes that they are waiting to proceed according to the advice of the lawyers.
Hablamos con los abogados.
We talked to the lawyers and they told us not to travel as yet. Honestly, we are only waiting and we are ready to leave immediately if we have to travel.
The defense lawyers are looking for a way to prove the innocence of Nayib Morales, as well as to expose the case as political, since the governor himself will have given the order to detain the doctor without conviction of facts. It is worth mentioning that for 4 months Morales has been in the neighboring country making a postgraduate in anesthesiology.
It is clear that yesterday's International Court of Justice ruling has sparked controversy in the national territory. There are more and more comments, opinions, and point of view as to whether or not this affects the country, and in particular us as Raizals. Former Colombia President Álvaro Uribe, as well as many others, also expressed his views on this case.
La sentencia no habla de incumplimiento.
The sentence does not speak of Colombia's non-compliance, a matter of competence of the United Nations Security Council. It does not affect the contiguous zone that links the islands of the archipelago. However, it limits its extension. This Colombian contiguous zone should not be allowed to coincide with the exclusive economic zone of Nicaragua.
These were the words of former President Álvaro Uribe Vélez in a video in which he also stated that the rights of the Rizal Islanders must be protected. As for the 2012 ruling, the former president said that it is illegal and inapplicable.
Destaco que la sentencia.
I stress that the 2012 ruling is illegal because its application would dismember the historic archipelago of San Andres and the other islands and islets. It is illegal because it ignored the peaceful, historic, and uninterrupted possession of Colombia and violated the limit defined by Liberator Simón Bolívar in 1810.
The former president's pronouncement culminated with the following phrase: "It is better to live through decades of diplomatic tension than to surrender to 1 millimeter of the homeland sea."
In other news, citizens who requested to keep his identity confidential told Teleislas News that allegedly the remains exhumed from the cemetery Harmony Hall Hill are being stored in the containers provided for waste by the departmental government. For that reason, a call is made to the health authorities and other relevant authorities to take appropriate action. Likewise, in this news agency, we open the microphones to the entities in charge for an eventual statement on this fact. In an interview with Teleislas News, the director of National Geographic Latin America Prestige Seas, which led the expedition to the Northern Keys, gave us details of this expedition.
Prestige Seas es una iniciativa de National Geographic.
Prestige Seas is a National Geographic initiative dedicated to promoting marine conservation around the world. We have completed an unprecedented expedition to take Colombian seas. We started in the Pacific Ocean and ended with an excellent expedition in the Caribbean Sea in the Seaflower Biosphere Reserve. We had an international team of scientists and environmentalists of the highest level, and together we were able to get to know the Serranía and Bajo Nuevo zone like never before. We used state-of-the-art technology to be able to explore what is on the surface and what is thousands of kilometers deep. Add this with Coralina, which has managed the seaflower reserves.
The result of this expedition of such importance for the community of the archipelago are expected to be announced soon.
And today, the Seaflower Knowledge Encounter was held, which is an event where the advances in marine scientific research in the Seaflower Biosphere Reserve are being socialized.
Today was held the Encounter of Knowledge, where the advances in marine scientific research in the Seaflower Biosphere Reserve were socialized, led by MinCiencias Bio, the Colombian Commission of the Ocean, supported by Coralina and other institutions.
Coming together with the purpose of generating knowledge and tools for the community and for the institutions and authorities to make proper management of the Seaflower Reserve. Events of this style, where research is socialized, are essential for locals and strangers, Rizal, national and international community to know the efforts of the generation of knowledge that are being done.
During the research, they have been able to determine that the Keys are a place where several species come to take refuge.
As the name says, a reserve is a place of refuge, so to speak. Fortunately, the results of the expeditions and research projects have concluded and helped to confirm that an area is a place of refuge. It is like an intensive care unit where the Great Caribbean is recovered.
Those attended the event referred to the importance of the socialization of seaflower research.
It is very important for the community to have this perception and contact with the island, the Seaflower Reserve, which generates education and information for the new generations to learn more about the environmental and economic impacts. I invite the community in general to participate in these events.
In other news, the national government strategy to vaccinate more than 4 million children in the country against measles and rubella continues. The local government informed that this strategy is reaching its final phase on the island and invites parents to vaccinate their children.
The Health Secretariat continues to advance the vaccination strategy against measles and rubella in the department, which seeks to vaccinate 9,416 minors.
La Secretaría de Salud.
The Health Secretariat is doing a documented vaccination sweep that consists of visiting every sector of the island in order to find a population of 2 to 12 years that have not been vaccinated against measles and rubella. There is a significant population of 1,400 children, according to our databases, that have not received their vaccine. This has been a campaign that has been conducted since April of last year, and we are already in the final phase of the campaign. We invite the community to be attentive to when the Secretariat is in their sectors so that parents provide vaccination cards, or if they are not at home because they are working, leave it in the hands of the caregiver or whoever is at home.
Last May 2021, the departmental government began vaccination against measles and rubella in the department's educational institutions in order to cover the largest possible population. The house-to-house immunization strategy will end on April 30th.
At this time, we continue with Millicent O'Neill and the news of the municipality of Old Providence and Santa Catalina.
Good evening to all our viewers. This is the most important information from Old Providence and Catalina. The group of fishermen and members of the community who participated in the expedition for dignity to the Northern Keys have already returned to the island.
It was an expedition planned by several organizations of fishermen, farmers, and the community as an act of sovereignty, security, and food independence on one of the islands located in the most northern part of the archipelago, Sorinela.
The intention with which we carried out this expedition was to do an act of sovereignty by Providence Fisherman Federation and the Rizal community. It was to show that the territory is not only what we know as Old Providence and San Andres, but to show that it's much more than that, and as we get to know it more, we will be able to continue defending it.
On the island of Sorinela, visitors fish, observe, but above all, they learn about the riches of their environmental resources.
If I could influence anybody to do any program or start a project, it would be like an educational thing for our kids to know what is our resources, the environmental part, how important that is to our environmental system, and not only that, the fishing system, the whole part of our territory. So I think we should have like excursions yearly.
The principal activity was to observe so that we could realize how it was preserved and how it belonged to us but still had not the possibility to know it or even see it. We also carried out other activities like preventive physical activities for fishermen.
The first time I have 52 years and I never did know that the key, just the first time, but I passed it nice. It was a pleasure to know it. I take picture and I get to know nice person, good friends. Everybody can know it. Who don't know it already, they go and know it and got experience about the sea, fishing in, everything. God, this is the way.
According to the organizer, the goal was achieved, for the community got to know their territory and they were able to do an autonomous act of sovereignty.
And in recent days, the first municipal basketball tournament for the year 2022 has been launched by the Culture and Sports Secretariat.
With the participation of 10 basketball teams and more than 100 young persons between the ages of 10 and 17 years old, the municipal basketball tournament was initiated by the mayor's office. The municipal secretary of sports spoke about the purpose of this tournament.
This is in order to revive the sport in the municipality and to begin to provide spaces to ensure the use of leisure time in young people and adolescents in the municipality of Providence and Santa Catalina Islands. This tournament will be taking place until more or less the middle part of the month of May so that we can begin to revive the sport, and in this way the various sports disciplines of the municipality will be joining the start of sports tournaments.
The categories that are participating in the basketball tournament are U13 and U17. This is the first of several tournaments that will also take place in other disciplines.
Our goal is to start promoting sports in the different disciplines, mainly in those that that are most played in the municipality, such as softball, baseball, basketball, indoor soccer, volleyball, beach volleyball, and other disciplines that can be found here in our municipality.
Some of the sports venues officially delivered during the visit of the president will be used in this reactivation.
I want to invite the community to come out and get involved in this type of events, either by participating or supporting them, so that the sports can be reborn in the municipality.
Although some of the sports venues have not yet been rehabilitated, the field section will be used for some of these tournaments.
This is all we have for tonight for this section of Fort Providence and Catlina. Continue in San Andres, Lisa, with more Teleislas News. Good night.